Tennessee Titans fans, we are here today exactly 2 weeks away from the draft with an interesting report from Matt Miller, who put out an article detailing all 32 teams and where they stand with the draft 2 weeks away. And what an interesting tidbit he threw out about the Tennessee Titans and something that may be rumored that they could do in the draft. And this is something that I have not even considered up until this point. But it is an interesting suggestion. Check this out. What we're hearing about the Titans draft, all signs point to Cam Ward being the number one pick. So the thing to watch is what the Titans will do on day 2. They're lacking a third-round pick due to the L'Jarius trade last offseason and need a receiver to complement Calvin Ridley. Expect Tennessee to be aggressive in adding a wideout, possibly with a trade up from number 35 overall to target a player such as Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State or Luther Burden III from Missouri. So this is the first that I have seen this mentioned, that the Tennessee Titans could potentially trade up. They could trade up into the first round, maybe. I mean, they're sitting there at number 35. Could they trade up into the first round to make sure that they get one of those receivers? If you get to the end of day 1 and one of those two is still there, could they trade up or even earlier into the second round to make sure that they get one of those guys? That is a huge rumor. I did a video yesterday and a podcast episode on Monday about what the Titans should do in the second round. And I talked about Luther Burden and I talked about Emeka Egbuka, and admittedly I talked about James Pierce, the edge rusher. And I said, these are guys that I would consider to be grand slams for the Titans. If you can get one of these guys at 35, you run to the podium. But I made it a point to say, I do not think that any of these guys will still be there at 35. And I don't. I think that Egbuka and Burden and Pierce, I think they're all going to go into the first round. But we talked about, regarding the number 1 pick in the draft, if the Titans, what have we said? If the Titans believe in Cam Ward, they need to draft Cam Ward. If they believe he's the guy, draft him. If you don't believe he's the guy, draft somebody else, trade back. Okay, well, let's apply that same logic now to the second round pick at 35. If you are sitting there and you know you want Emeka Egbuka or Luther Burden, if you're looking at those two guys in particular and you're saying, we want them, we want one of those two. If you're getting toward the end of the first round and at least one of them is still there, are you willing to give something up to move up? I mean, think about it. The Titans have a lot more draft capital toward the end of the draft. I think they have 2 4th rounders, 2 5th rounders, 2 6th rounders. Maybe you can use that. Maybe a pick next year. You give them your second round. I mean, is there a possibility? Well, according to this report, you have to believe it, and I don't hate it. Listen, I said yesterday on the video that I did, I lean more toward taking wide receiver with the second round pick, because if we're drafting Cam Ward, I want to get as much help for Cam Ward as possible. I know edge rush, major need. I understand all that comes along with that. But for me, you've made all these moves on the offensive line to protect Cam Ward adequately. So now I want to get some receivers that can elevate him, and it's going to take more than Calvin Ridley. Obviously, the Titans have not done much at wide receiver. They've only added Van Jefferson. Nick Westbrook-Akine is gone. So I've said I would lean more toward wide receiver, and I've said Luther Burden is my best case scenario, but Emeka Egbuka would be phenomenal as well. Are the Titans devoted to moving up and getting one of those guys to come in and be a weapon for Cam Ward? I mean, I know that the possibility of trading up doesn't sound appealing to people just because we already don't have a third round pick. Now, if you trade up into the first round, now you don't have a second or a third, and I know that can get iffy, but, you know, if the Titans, again, it's that same logic we use with Cam Ward. If you believe that Luther Burden or Emeka Egbuka is the guy, fine. Go get them. Like, if you believe in them to that degree, go get them. Now, I do I do wonder what kind of package they're going to be able to put together in order to do that. But I mean, listen, I'm going to be throwing a party if the Titans are able to trade up and get one of those two wide receivers. Now, ultimately, I still feel like the most likely option is that they stay put because there are other, one guy that I didn't mention yesterday, Kyle Williams. That's a guy a lot of people like. There's a lot of receivers that the Titans can take at 35 that would be great, you know? So it's not the end of the world if they're not able to trade up and get one of these guys. But you know what? I'm not going to complain if they do. I mean, what a rumor here that I hadn't even thought about. I've thought about trading back, but I sure haven't thought about trading up to get one of these wide receivers. But I would like that move because it sends the message to Cam Ward right off the bat. I mean, think about it. You're sending the message to your young guy, we are going to rally around you. We are going to put you in the best position possible. We've made these moves on the offensive line. We've signed Dan Moore to a big deal. We moved Latham over. We brought in Kevin Zeitler. We've improved, hopefully, the offensive line for you to protect you. Now, we've already got Calvin Ridley. We're going to trade up. Even though we already don't have a third-round pick, we're going to trade up to get one of these stud wide receivers in the draft that we like to come in and be a weapon for you. I think that's a good thing. That's a good message to send to Cam Ward that he has the support of the organization. And, we need it. Now, I do worry about edge rush in this scenario because in this scenario, you're not going to be able to get an edge rusher until the fourth round. And I'm not saying you can't get somebody good in the fourth round, but the odds of that working out and being what you need at edge rush, I mean, it just boils down to the fact that the Titans are probably not going to be able to address every major need that they have this offseason. And we knew that, but it's just now it's setting in. Yes, you can draft some edge rushers, but in terms of addressing it the way you need to make a huge difference, you're probably not going to be able to do that this offseason. But this is a very interesting rumor. If we end up with Cam Ward and Luther Burden, or if we end up with Cam Ward and Emeka Egbuka, I'm throwing a party. I'm throwing a party. We'll talk about edge rush later, but in the moment, I'm going to throw a party, and I'm going to be very excited about it. I like this. I like the thinking. I like the aggressive nature, even though that's contrary to what we expected, because we expected the Titans to be very conservative. Let's just wait. Let's acquire draft capital. Let's whatever. But it doesn't feel like they're being reckless. Last season felt a little reckless in hindsight because we were just signing anybody we could. But this, again, if you believe in one of those wide receivers to that degree, fine. Go get them. That's what I say. I don't hate it at all. What say you? Tighten up, everybody.